Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the biggest golf tournament of the year. It's Masters Week, Zachary.
Yay.
How great is this? We're going to help make somebody a millionaire today by our webcast and podcast here.
I'm going to guess somebody's going to be like a 10,000 there. That's my guess.
10,000 there.
Split that first place prize by like 60 people. That's my prediction for the week.
Welcome, everybody. This is the Fantasy Golf Insider webcast and podcast. If you're new to us, welcome. My name is Jeff Bergerson. My screen name on DraftKings is JT Bergerson. Joined as always by my partner, Zach Turcotte. His screen name is Mysteriously.
You can just call me almost King of the Hill.
Well, close but not quite
close,
King of the Hill.
Quite. Yeah, what's the payout for that again? Oh.
Nada. You should go sign up for our premium package on fantasygolfinsider.com. Get all the tools, research, model, everything you need to be successful. The Masters, and all throughout the year playing DFS golf. Come join us. This broadcast is available as a podcast as well on iTunes. Be sure to go on there, give us a glowing review. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Give us a big thumbs up on YouTube. Last week, Zachary, the Shell Houston Open, the guy we all thought would be hoisting the hardware at the end of the tournament.
The Herminator, right?
Herman.
Everybody in on him. I mean, it was a bomber's course, so naturally Jim Herman
comes out,
steals the show, Mr. GIR.
Yep, victorious over Stenson, DJ, Spieth, Phil. He outduels them all.
Why not? Why not? It's been, he played great. I mean, down the stretch, I'm thinking those last few holes, he's gonna bogey one of these last few holes. I mean, Stenson was in the lead, and then they kind of swapped where Stenson, what a surprise, he bogeys, so he falls back, and then Herman gets the birdie, and Herman held on. All those tough holes down the stretch where, you know, Spieth's in the water on 18, Phil's bogeying on 18 the last couple of days. Herman held it together and didn't make any mistakes at the end, which for that guy to be able to do that is huge. I mean, without that win, he's nowhere this week. I mean, he's definitely not playing this week. So it was a pretty incredible victory, and I'm sure he was feeling the pressure all the way through. So I was shocked that he was the one who ended up on top with all those big names that were out.
So I'm texting you. You have a shot at King of the Hill.
Of course.
And all you need to do is have Jordan Spieth, finish what? If he finishes runner-up and DJ falls back a little bit, you probably still win.
Yeah, and we were right there. I knew at the beginning of the day that was our path to victory. And so when he started off the day with 5 birdies,
I know. Drains a 28-footer. I'm like, here we go.
First like 7, 8 holes, and then he was tied for second. I could feel it happening, and then just as soon as we got a little bit hopeful, which we just can't do. It all came undone.
Water ball.
In the water twice. Yep. Phil
couldn't make any
fought
putts.
Kind of back and forth. Van Ass weigh in, who played pretty well Saturday, and then kind of gave it all back. On Sunday. It was rough. I mean, I got JJ Henry through, which I felt a little evil about, getting him through. And then I knew the MDF was coming. I could feel it moving to -1 the whole day. Friday, so I had a pretty good feeling there was going to be an MDF because there's 78 or over, and so I had a bad feeling. I said, well, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Van Assway, and is it going to be Johnny Vegas, or is it going to be JJ Henry? And JJ Henry ran away with it, shot a +6, and ended up missing there. So ended up in 3rd place for that, missed by just a handful of points. But we're right on the edge. It's 2 weeks in a row that I have been right on the edge of greatness.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like it's coming soon.
Well, hopefully very soon, like this week.
Yeah, I know. I actually put out there, this isn't gonna. Could this possibly be my chance to use my one time? And somebody actually wrote back. The Sports Geek wrote back. He says, you don't want to use your one time this week. Don't use it this week.
Right.
So that's probably wise. So we'll keep that around.
Quick shout out to those who sent me emails about the GPP Hardcore Core that I write every week. We absolutely killed it last week. Of the 18 guys I mentioned, 9 of them were in the top 20.
Yeah, we were all over the top in terms
just
of the
crushed
picks,
it.
Though we missed a couple key value guys that hurt us a little bit, but the top guys that we had were just laced throughout the top 10.
I had Cabrera Bello, who finished huge, racked up points. Reeve, Love, Mark Vegas, so they weren't all just high-end guys. I always give a spectrum of all salary levels. So that really killed it last week. That's 3 weeks in a row. So I've posted the Hardcore Core for the Masters up on the website. Be sure to go check that out and see who I'm playing in my GPP core this week for the Millionaire Maker.
And then once tax season ends, you're just going to explode. All that creative
lot of
energy that's building up inside of you is just going to be unloaded in all kinds of different articles and things on the site, right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I can't wait.
So, Shot of the Week segment brought to you by SwanniesFootwear.com, where you should go check out all their great apparel. Be sure to use Fantasy Golf as the promo code and get 20% off. Shot of the Week last week, lots of candidates.
Yeah, I don't even know how we could settle on one. I thought we had it right away with Jason Gore.
Yep, with a 10.
I'm looking at my phone. He's at -2 on the day or wherever. I can't even, I think he was at -2 or somewhere around there. And I'm looking on my phone trying to find him. You know, when you're looking on Shot Tracker and you're looking at your guy and you don't see him at -2 or
right.
So you get excited and you look up a couple slots.
I always look down.
Like, did he birdie this hole? Is he at -3? No. Wait, I don't see him. I'm gonna go check down here. Maybe he's at -1. Oh, I don't see him there either. Maybe he eagled it. Maybe he holed out. And I don't see that either. And then I'm just scanning all over. And then I realize, and I'm going down on the starred players, and I look all the way down at the bottom.
That's where I always start. When I don't see him, I go all the way to the bottom and work my way up, so I'm less disappointed the further up I go.
And immediately, it was just a punch to the stomach. And I'm just thinking, what happened? And I open the page, splash, splash, splash. 3 in a row. He tin cupped it. So I don't know how that happened.
Jonas Blix did the same thing. He had an 11 on a par 4.
That was amazing. Yeah, after he made the
first 3 tee shots.
He was in pretty good shape too. It wasn't even like he was close. He was pretty far in for making the cut, and then by the end it just...
It's never good when you're lying 6 off the tee.
But what about Morgan Hoffman? I think that might have been my favorite of all, because that was such a...
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So he was near the top of the leaderboard.
He was tied for second. He was -8. 10 holes to go, -8.
Right, yeah. So then he starts out shooting even par through 12 holes, and then the wheels absolutely just come off. He bogeys 13th hole, which was the par 5, 4th hole. Then he proceeds to double 5, triple 6, and bogey 7 and 8. Misses the cut completely.
He was just out of control.
Yeah.
He missed by 2 strokes after being competitive for the lead. And our buddy David Frey, as I'm talking to him as I see Hoffman rising up the leaderboard, and David Frey is a huge Morgan Hoffman guy every week.
How can you not be?
And so I'm sending him direct messages. And I'm like, this has got to be the week that you jumped off, because he's been so bad this season.
Been awful.
And so I thought, this will be the week that Frey's off him. And then Frey says, no, I'm in for 20%. And I thought, wow, man, that is some balls to have stuck that out. And then as soon as that conversation was finished, the black magic was was cast. It was unbelievable. It fell apart so fast. I felt bad at that point, because I felt like my powers had been used for evil in some special way. But there were a lot of guys. I mean, Tony Finau was, I think, -4, -5 at one point. He misses a cut. Malnati looked like he was safely through. He collapsed on the last 4 holes.
Yeah.
He blew the cut. I mean, everybody was just blowing up. We just saw not just guys collapse on 1 hole, but 3, 4, 5 holes at the end where they went from looking like a shoe-in to make it to absolutely just caving in. So it was kind of hysterical if you didn't own any of those guys. But since we had a couple, there was a little bit of pain.
Well, I think Spieth's collapse did you in. That could be
the worst
shot of the week too.
Yeah,
I've never seen him hit the water so many damn times.
His iron play's just off right now.
It's terrible.
I don't know what's going on. He's a little wild, and he's not saving himself like last year. Where
the recovery shots are not good either.
No, yeah, he's not. His proximity from just off the green was bad yesterday. He's got one. He was lucky it didn't go in the water, and then he
could have saved par.
He chips it to 17 feet or something like that, which then he misses the putt. So it was, it was kind of brutal watching him, which leads to an interesting conversation coming up for this week. But before we do that. Shot of the week to everybody who just...
Jason Gore, Jonas Blix, Morgan Hoffman.
Everybody who just kicked it in that we just mentioned. Cheers.
Cheers. You want to talk about your Wacky Wagers?
Yeah, that was entertaining.
Yeah, that is entertaining.
So, we all got the email. Everybody got the email. All the subscribers got the email Wednesday evening. JB Holmes withdraw. Get him out of your lineup.
Yep.
So naturally, I'm looking at all my $200 and $300 lineups, my King of the Hill, my Thunderdome qualifiers. I'm going all over those lists. Sitting at my computer about 2 in the morning, I fall asleep and wake up after tea time in the morning, after lineup lock time. And I look at my phone, and of course I've got a message from Brad Messersmith saying, "Oh, what a bold play, starting JB Holmes this week in the Wacky Wagers." And immediately I go to look at my phone. Not only did I start him in one of my 3 matchups, but I started him in 2 of my 3 matchups because I forgot to change those. So I thought immediately I'm doomed. So I sent out the black magic right away. I got names and addresses, and Brad bit off on the reverse hex, and he sent me the address. He sent me the address. He said, "You better ship it now." I said, all right, yeah, you guys got me. Sorry for the lame ass effort for this week. And then I actually ended up winning 2 out of 3 for the week.
So what'd you win?
I won a ping driver, which I'm very excited about.
And who would you win that off
from
of?
Zach Woods, a good buddy. Zach Woods has been a long-time friend of the show. And then Brad, I won a Tony Rice jersey. He claims it's a Tom Zibikowski jersey, but since he didn't really do anything in his career, I prefer Tony Rice. Tony Rice has got kind of a special place in my heart that goes back to 1988 when I was a Notre Dame fan, from 88 till 1995. And that first year, 88, I made my very first ever sports wager on Notre Dame to beat Jimmy Johnson's University of Miami Hurricanes, who had won 30-some straight regular season games. And I won 50 cents from my cousin for my very first ever sports wager victory. And look where we are now.
And that started.
And look where we are today. So Tony Rice was kind of a hero. They won the national championship. I was a big fan. Guy who went to our high school, Rod Smith, who was one of Minnesota's best players, was on a lot of those teams in the early years. So big Rod Smith fan, watched those guys all the way through high school. And then got to Air Force, and of course, Notre Dame's a little bit of a rival there. So, decided I hated Notre Dame at that point moving forward, and here we are today. And my sister went there, but yeah, I still hate them and cheer against them loudly every single time that I see them on the TV. So
you won 2 Wacky Wagers.
2 out of 3, and the other one wasn't real close. I had JB Holmes on the 3rd roster, but that entire team.
And who'd you lose to then?
That was Kenny from the Degenerates. So all 3 of the guys that host the DFS Degenerates podcast each week, which is a lot of fun. It's one that I like to check out. So they were good sports. We'll probably do it again just because I feel like I gave kind of a lame effort overall. I felt like I had some good built-in excuses if things didn't work, but hey, winning 2 of 3, I'll take it. So yeah, so it was entertaining. I've got a whole bunch of Wacky Wagers this week. I kind of have to decide on which ones are going to end up being used for the Masters and which ones we'll kind of have to postpone a little bit. But we have a few interesting items that are out there and up for grabs. I think the most interesting one that I'm intrigued by is Keith Wire sent a picture of a Dwight Schrute bobblehead doll.
Let's do it.
So I think that's
this week.
I think that's probably going to be the pick for the Masters, unless somebody has something else that's just truly sensational.
If you have something that you're going to blow us away with, send it to us, tweet it out, and
I might not even start a full lineup, so you never know. You may start out with a man advantage.
Free money.
Yeah, you never know. I might start Freddie Couples this week, right?
Should we talk about the Masters?
Let's get there. I'm just the anticipation.
I got my green jacket on here.
Does that fit?
Waiting. It's a little bit small. It's smaller than. It's still nice. It's stretchy fabric.
Hitting that bench pretty hard these days, right?
It's a medium.
I think you're not a medium.
Augusta National Golf Club, 7,435 yards, par 72. Key stats this week, we're looking at strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained putting, par 5 scoring, birdies are better average. And again this week, Zachary, I like greens in regulation. It's not a popular stat amongst the DFS community and the touts.
Well, yeah, I mean, the big thing there is there's overlap. With strokes gained tee to green, it kind of incorporates greens in regulation.
It does.
So there's a little overlap, but you want extra emphasis on that portion of the game.
And there's certain tournaments. I thought it was key last week, and I talked about it on the webcast at the Shell. I think it's key this week. Let me ask you this question, see if you can answer it. Who were the top 2 guys ranked in greens and regulation last year on the PGA Tour?
Oh, man. The top
Any
two.
guesses? Yep, the top 2. I'll give you a hint.
Did he win the Masters last year?
No.
No. Oh, boy.
Henrik Stenson.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Jim Herman.
Herman was going to be one of my guesses.
I see. The Shell Houston Open last week. It's all coming together, right?
Oh, so Jim Herman is your sleeper pick of the week.
Well, I don't know. I liked it. I liked greens in regulation last week, and I think it's a key stat because you look back and guys who you need to hit greens at Augusta. You just have to. Right. Unless you can scramble out of your mind.
And there's only a couple guys that are great at that. And that's why Phil Mickelson has been so good at this course. Because he's got such a tremendous short game around the greens.
Yep. So the event that all of the attention is on is the Millionaire Maker this week on DraftKings. I put together a few tips and tricks for people who are entering the Millionaire Maker to help give you guys an edge. You need to be perfect. Unlike in GPPs and most weeks, we're looking heavily at ownership, trying to dodge it. Look, you got to. It doesn't matter if you're picking the most popular guy. You got to hit it perfect.
It's got to be perfect. Last year, the perfect lineup won. Literally, you could not have had a better lineup for the money.
And it had Jordan Spieth, who was owned by 30% of the field.
Sure.
Right. So if you're dodging him, if you think he's 30% and dodging him, you don't win the $1 million. You don't have a shot. So we got to be perfect. So let's look at more at guys who we think are going to succeed, and they all have to be. You're going to have to pick the winner. And they all going to have to be in the top 15, if not the top 10.
I'm guessing you'll probably have to get 4 to 5 in the top 10.
No question.
One guy will be kind of outside of that. He'll put
Last year, Russell Henley was on the winning lineup. He was like 21st.
He'll put up a ton of points and be like 20th or something like that.
Right, but there's more teams this year too, so that we got to factor that in. So we're going for high ceiling guys. We don't want a guy who's going to make the cut and finish T35. It's not going to help us in the Millionaire Maker.
And there's a couple guys like that. If you look right in the middle, you see a guy like Bill Haas who's almost always in the top 25, but he has never really been a threat here to be in the top 10. So it really creates a bit of a dilemma.
He's never been in the top 10 in a major.
In a major. So when you look at that, it makes it almost impossible to roster a guy like that where you think, well, great, he's going to make the cut. He could be in the top 20, top 25, but if you know that his upside is around 20th,
right,
you almost just have to pass on him.
Yep.
I mean, you really have to. And I was talking about this with a couple of folks the other day, and I really think this week you have to be stars and scrubs. You have to do whatever you can to get at least 2 studs near the top in your lineup, and one who's close, it's in that range, and then just go down to the bottom. And last year people talked about it because it was Kevin Na, it was Charlie Hoffman, Ryan Palmer was down there, and Russell Henley. And those were kind of the guys that I think people almost gravitated away from them because there was so much talk about it building up. But you have to take those guys. You just have to take those guys.
Yep.
And especially this year, it's a very small field. There's only going to be 88 players or so who are going to tee off.
Well, there's 88, but then you got to shave off, the bottom 10 guys probably because you got the super old guys and they just have no chance of winning.
A bunch of amateurs. So yeah, there's a good
15
to 20 guys there. So there's really only about 60, 65 legitimate players that you could even be looking at. 6 of 6 is not going to be a great lineup this week. You're going to probably need that as a minimum if you want to cash in your cash games this week. Certainly a good 6 of 6 to be making it through in the GPP. So be aggressive this week. And I was talking about that in the smaller contests too. If you're out there, if you have Thunderdome tickets, be aggressive. You can't just go middle of the road hoping to get 6 of 6 through because there's going to be probably 25 to 30% of the field that get 6 of 6 through. And that's pretty conservative as far as that goes. So if you want to win any money this week in the big events, you got to be aggressive.
And be sure to note that the cut is top 50 and ties this week.
So like 56 guys are going to make it through.
And if you're within 10 strokes of the lead, you're in 2 as well. So that's something in addition to that. There's a lot of talk in the industry of avoiding guys who are making their first appearance at Augusta. And last year it kind of turned out that way. This year, I think it's going to be different.
Yeah, it's true most years. I don't think it's got to be true 100% across the board.
I can see guys in their first year this year doing some damage. I really can. And so I'm not going to strictly avoid guys because they're making their first appearance.
Yeah, and I think that's been something that a lot of people have discussed. If you look down, we'll kind of jump to the bottom. I think there's a lot of talk on which of those guys in that 6,000 range that you're going to roster. I think the guy that we've heard a lot about is Smiley Kaufman.
Right.
He's a guy who's popping up pretty highly on a lot of models. He's a guy who, if you put him on your team, it gives you a ton of extra capital. But people are really concerned. He's a young guy. He's a rookie. He's never played here before. And I understand that, and there's certainly some merit. I don't think he's going to win this week. I'll go on record right here and say,
you will, huh?
Smiley Kaufman.
That's bold.
You will not be winning the event this week. You will not get a green jacket.
No, but I can likely see him in the top 15.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. Because if you look back, and this is sort of, they're not the same type of course, but they're both very hard courses. If you look at Doral, what he did just a few weeks ago, a place where that kind of blows up new guys, and it blows up some veterans there as well. He went in there, he was in the top 10 for the week. So,
and if you get that from a 6,000 guy, if he finishes T12 or something.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah. So I don't have any issue mixing a guy like that in. I think with the smaller field, there's a pretty high likelihood that, for the most part, most of the guys that you're looking at this week are going to make the cut. And as long as there's some potential there for them to do damage, I think that being able to load up on top and put that extra guy who's a stud into your lineup makes a lot of sense. And so I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit and just kind of hope that he's got top 20 potential in him. So, yeah. When it comes to the lineups this week, you got to be perfect. Throw most of the ownership percentages out the window for the Millionaire Maker, and just go for the best 6 guys that you think have a shot at putting up the most points.
So before we start breaking down guys, the other thing I'll mention is don't ignore cash games this week.
Sure.
Right? I mean, the Millionaire Maker is great and all. It's basically kind of a lottery ticket. I mean, we can help you gain an edge, but it's very tough to navigate 200,000 people. Play the cash games. You got a lot of newbies playing DFS golf this week, and you're going to see some bizarre lineups in cash. I guarantee it. Take advantage of that. Crush cash games this week.
Yeah.
And put together good, solid cash game lineups. Let's start at the top, Zachary.
All right.
Who are you liking in that top tier? You said you want to go stars and scrubs.
Yeah.
Who are you going to target in that area? Anyone in particular? Any couple of guys that you like?
Well, there's about 3 or 4, and you got to be selective. That's one of the things that I've really noticed as I've studied my own lineup construction habits over the last few weeks, and then the habits of the players who are consistently able to have success. You need to be selective. You can't just go 10% on Bubba, 10% on Speed, 10% on Phil, 10%, 10%, 10%. If you do that, you're just not going to give yourself enough options with the guys who come through for you each week. So you're going to have to pick a couple guys. The couple guys that I'm really focused in on at the top are going to be Jason Day and Ricky Fowler. Obviously, Jason Day, who our stat guy did not want me to mention before because he's a real secret on tour this year. So Jason Day at the top of the lineup, I mean, the guy's very suddenly found his form, and I don't know if that's just a function of the fact that the slow start may have been due to the fact he just didn't play a lot in the offseason.
He was horsing around. He was hanging out with LeBron James and
you can call it
dinking around.
Right,
and
so he didn't play much in that offseason, so I think he's finding his game, and he's definitely hitting his peak with 2 straight wins. A lot of people are going to be on him. I loved him here last year, and he started out great, and then Spieth got so far out in front. I think he put too much pressure on himself day 2, pressed too much, and then just kind of fell back. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I think he's a guy who I liked all the way back from the fall to win here, so I'm sticking with that. I like Jason Day this week. He'll be on a lot of rosters, and then I'm going to drop down a little bit and go to Ricky Fowler, who has been just tremendous this year. Last year, I didn't roster him at all for the Masters. His form was really inconsistent, if you remember last year in the spring. It was up and down. He'd have a 50th place finish and then a 12th and then, top 10 here or there. He's been in the top 10 6 times on the PGA Tour this year. He won in Abu Dhabi. He's consistently in the mix every week, which is just the same way that he was playing 2 years ago when he was in the top 5 for all 4 majors. I think this is the year that he pushes through and finally gets it done. So those are the 2 guys right at the top that I'll probably be most focused on. Who do you like this week up there?
I'm going to stick with you. Talk about who you liked at the start of the year. I liked Rory McIlroy coming into the year to complete his career slam.
Yeah, this is the one he hasn't won yet. Yeah.
So I think he's going to be dead set on winning this event. He's come close the last couple of times here, 2 top 10s. He has the game if he can just find the putter, and I think he will be able to do it. So
is he going to be able to put together 4 great rounds? That's been his downfall this year. He's put together 1 or 2 great rounds in each tournament, and then a clunker. So this will be the one where you think he's gonna hit all 4 rounds.
I hope so.
Exactly.
Because he's going to be probably the guy who I own the most in the top tier. So
excellent.
All right.
Who else do you like?
Well, let's drop down a little bit into that next tier of guys. Kind of the top of the next tier. Obviously, Henrik Stenson has been playing really well.
Why can't he do anything at Augusta?
You know, I don't know. He hits greens. He hasn't been far off.
No,
he just hasn't come up
terrible.
with the big finish.
Yeah, he's not in the top 10.
No.
He's just
I think he could, though, this year.
He's got the game, it seems.
Oh, yeah,
like.
no question. His game fits perfectly for Augusta.
Pretty much for any course. Is there a course that doesn't fit a perfect ball striker's
No,
game?
not really.
Yeah, so
no.
I mean, he's going to be there.
He's not going to win probably a tournament because he just doesn't win tournaments.
He's got something wrong with his head. He just can't do it on
But
Sundays.
if you pair him with another one of those top guys, you can easily do it this week.
See, I think I'm going to step up and go with Justin Rose right there.
You like Rose?
He's a guy. It happened last year where he slipped below. He was terrible.
Oh, he was awful coming in.
Really
People
bad.
avoided him like the plague.
He had an injury that he was working his way through, and then the Masters came around, something clicked into gear, and the rest of the year, he was Justin Rose again. Down at 9,900, I think he's a great play this week. He's played pretty well. He hasn't had the great finish yet. He's been in the top 10 3 times, been in the top 26 times.
Yeah.
But I think he's second place here last year. At 9,900, it gives you a lot of options. So if you start at 9,900 with Rose, you can get 2 more players in that 10,000 range and then drop down, get that ultra cheap 3 scrubs
in the
there at the bottom and make a really good team. So I think it just gives you one more bullet there at the top in terms of a guy who does have the potential, who definitely has the game to win here at Augusta.
Okay. So we drop down into the middle range. A couple of guys who I like. Now, a guy who I've liked for months is Danny Willett, sitting at 8,000. Now everybody's on the Danny Willett bandwagon. So
thanks, Pat Mayo.
I've talked about it with Pat multiple times, loving Danny Willett. The only question was with the baby, is he going to play? Well, he's had the baby. He's going to play. It's a tremendous value at 8,000, and like I was saying earlier with the perfect lineup, just because I think he's going to be owned by 25% of the field.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I think I still am going to have him on the majority of my lineups.
Now, in your other contest, though, it brings up an interesting point. For the $300, the $333 this week, he probably will be owned by close to 30%. So if you're going to play that event, it might be a fade.
I think that's a fade in that. Yep.
Definitely. Yep. So it's definitely something you have to consider different strategies in terms of what you're doing with these events.
Yep. And I think he'll probably be owned by 40% in the 300 because the sharps,
they're going
to be on him
this week. So I think he's a total fade in those smaller events.
Absolutely.
So look for him to put on the screen jacket over the weekend.
A couple other guys who I like in that range. Jimmy Walker at 8,200 I think presents some value. I will have him on some rosters as well.
Hopefully round 1 or round 2 is the round when he shoots like 9 under.
I know.
And then, the rest of the weekend you can kind of putter along and be +1 or -1 the rest of the way. So hopefully that round comes early for you this week.
Anyone who you like in the middle, or are you kind of avoiding that range with your stars and scrubs approach?
Yeah, I'm not going to use it a lot for the big contest. I really will be loading up at the top because I don't think anybody here in the middle is really going to challenge to win this week. I just don't see it. I don't see any of those guys being in the range of being there on the final day. There's guys that I probably will use for some of my lineups. I could see using Matt Kuchar for some of my lineups. His game's been a little bit up and down, but when he's on, and Augusta is a place that he does tend to play really well. He's 7,800 this week. It's a pretty nice price for him right there in the middle range. And your favorite player right below that at 7,700, Paul Casey.
Yeah, you big on the little dwarf?
I'm not big on him, but at 7,700, we know he's got top 10 potential. I think he finished 6th or 8th year last year, so he did really well. So at 7,700, if you're locking in a guy he's top 10 the last couple of weeks, who has top 10 potential, hey, I like that a lot. You're going to be able to save some money down when you want to load up at the top again.
And if he can avoid that blasted hangnail, which will force them to withdraw, then he should be a pretty good pick.
The thing about it is this. If you look at his history of when he tends to withdraw, yes, he withdrew the other week at the match play after he was eliminated.
Yeah, it's not just that.
He withdrew on us at Deutsche Bank when he had already advanced to the next round. He was going to play in BMW regardless of what happened. So he tends to leave events where him finishing doesn't necessarily help him or hurt him all that much. With the Masters, I don't see him doing that unless he actually has something fairly severe. So I think in events like this, you're much less worried about the withdrawal factor.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Down below, we talked about Smiley Kaufman. Obviously, he's probably got to be on a lot of your rosters in the Millionaire Maker. But again, in that $300, or a normal GPP, maybe a decent fade.
Might just skip him on those.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely could see skipping him on a lot of those.
Any others interest you down below?
Well, we liked him last week. We both liked him last week. It's Charlie Hoffman.
Charlie Hoffman.
He was in first place in the first round, and immediately I went to the Twitter board and said, this looks like a T23. And I gave him too much credit. He finished T33 on the week. So I'm happy with that slide. I'm glad he fell back because I think that will take some of the attention away. When the novices go to look at his recent form, they'll see 33. They won't see the first couple rounds where he was lighting it up. And this is the time of year when you want to own Charlie. For whatever reason, this particular time in the spring is usually when he plays his best golf. Summer, he kind of fades, and there's a couple tournaments at the end of the year where he shows up.
Yep.
If Charlie has pretty good course history at a place, generally it's pretty good to bet on him. At 6,400, he's showing very similar value to what he had last year here. So I think I will probably own some Charlie Hoffman shares this week since we know he's got top 10 potential. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyone else who you want to mention down in that sleeper range?
Well, let's see. I think if you look down, if you wanted somebody to pivot off of from Smiley, and I won't own a lot of shares of this player, but Scott Piercy has been playing really well this year at 5,900. What's going to happen with Scott Piercy when most people are doing their research? I mean, again, there's going to be 200,000 entries in this event. Most people are going to start their research by looking at the Masters tournament history. And they're going to look at Scott Piercy. He took like 50-something the one time that he played here several years back. They're not going to see anything noticeable that catches their attention. So for the most part, they're going to gloss over him. And he's been very good this season. He's been very consistent in terms of making the cut. But down at 5,900, I don't think he'll be that highly owned because I think everybody will gravitate towards Smiley down in that range. So I think he is an interesting pivot play this week.
Okay. I have several other sleepers, but I'm going to keep that in my hardcore core this week for our premium subscribers.
Yeah, somebody canceled their membership and said we give too much away on the preview. So you can thank that asshole for us going a little silent with our sleeper picks from here on in.
So just become a premium member and you'll get all of our picks.
Yeah.
The question I have for you, though, Zachary, is what percentage owned will Tiger Woods be in the Millionaire?
Jeez. Over under 1%?
I don't know. It could be like 2 or 3. There's a lot of people who are going to be in there not knowing what the hell they're doing.
That'll be one of the first searches that I do on Thursday. Well, no, wait. I won't do any searches. I won't have my phone.
No, you won't have your phone.
I won't have any equipment at all. I'll just be walking around. Probably following Smiley Kaufman, screaming at him on the course during his first.
Oh, you're going to follow him and bring him down?
I hope so. Yeah.
Bring down the Kaufman train.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's all we got for the Masters preview. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at Fantasy Golfers. Also, you can email us at info@fantasygolfinsider.com. Are you going to do Periscope this week, possibly?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do down in Augusta. Okay. Yeah, I'll be down there, so yeah, hopefully I'll find a spot on Wednesday night to answer any last-second questions.
Well, you have a good time, you bastard.
It should be okay. I hear it's kind of a fun experience. So, yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys next week. Best of luck in the Millie Maker. Hope a member of Team FGI is able to bring home that $1 million. Let us know. Keep us updated, and we'll sweat along with you.
Yeah, last year we gave a free T-shirt to whoever finished highest. We want to do the same.
Let's do it. Free T-shirt to whoever finishes the highest. Got to be an FGI Premium member who finishes the highest in the Millie Maker standings. Let us know where you finish. We'll send you out some swag. Good luck this week, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Good luck.
You done chomping your ice there, chompity chomp?
I think so.
All right. You okay? You got your drink out?
They're a good size right here. They're perfect for small little chews.
All right. Done fiddling?
I'm good.
All right.